Welcome to Jersey's Best Podcast, a weekly deep dive into everything that makes New Jersey spectacular, bizarre, beautiful, sometimes annoying, but always the best. My name is Jeremy Schneider. I'm a food and culture reporter for NJ.com and the Star Ledger, and I am your host. This is your weekly reminder to send episode suggestions, guest ideas, and questions to us at jerseysbestpodcast@gmail.com and follow us at Jersey's Best Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and Blue Sky. Posting podcast clips and memes and concert clips from Ruts Hut and stuff. You want to follow us, check us out. This week, Jersey's Best Podcast is going to the movies because one of the most anticipated New Jersey movies in recent memory comes out this week, and I can't wait to talk about it. That's right, people. We're talking about the Bruce Springsteen movie. Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere, starring Jeremy Allen White as Bruce Springsteen and focusing on the period of his career during which he wrote and recorded the seminal 1982 album Nebraska in his Colts Neck bedroom. We're going to read that over again because that was a little rough. Comes out on Friday. It stars. Okay, here we go. That's right, people. The Bruce Springsteen movie. Bruce Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere, comes out this Friday. It stars Jeremy Allen White as Bruce Springsteen and focuses on the period of his career in which he wrote and recorded the seminal 1982 album Nebraska in his Colts Neck bedroom. The film is directed by Scott Cooper and based on the 2023 book Deliver Me From Nowhere, written by Montclair resident Warren Zanes. The movie also stars Jeremy Allen White as... The movie also stars Jeremy Strong as John Lando, Paul Walter Hauser as engineer Mike Balton, and Odessa Young as Faye Romano, Bruce's love interest. As well documented on NJ.com, the movie was filmed all over New Jersey with major filming taking place in Asbury Park. Shocker. The movie is officially out on October 24th, but I was lucky enough to attend an advanced screening of the movie earlier this week, and I have thoughts. Joining me today to discuss Springsteen Deliver Me From Nowhere is our resident Bruce Springsteen expert, NJ.com's director of digital storytelling, and my boss, Bobby Olivier. Bobby, welcome back to Jersey's Best Podcast.
Happy to be here, and it's kind of insane that we're, 6 months into this podcast, and this is our first, true Springsteen dedicated episode. That's a failure probably on my part, on your part, on Dwayne's part. And I'm ready to talk about the topic that I am most obligated to talk about in my life. Let's go.
In my defense, we have asked Bruce Springsteen to come on the podcast, I think, in every single episode. So let's get it out of the way. Bruce, I'm not going to say how I feel about the movie yet, but come on the pod.
Yes. Yeah. If he was ever going to come on the podcast, this is the time.
Now's the time.
Yeah.
Come on, baby. You're not busy promoting a movie about your life or anything.
Yeah, exactly. So some housekeeping. So I have not seen this movie yet. That's the hypocrisy in this. Jeremy has seen it. Jeremy got to go to some fancy screening in New York.
You were invited. You're just busy.
I was too busy to go see it. I will see it probably this weekend, but I need to hear from you what it was like. So I'm going to be the interviewer today, and you're going to be the subject. You're going to be the one who was immersed in Nebraska land, and I want to know how you felt about it.
I'm going to tell you exactly how I felt about it. Quick spoiler warning. If you haven't seen the movie, it comes out on Friday. This episode's coming out on Wednesday. How much can you spoil a movie about a living rock star whose life is well documented? I don't know, but if you're trying to go into this completely blind, I get it, but I promise I'm not going to go crazy. As far as biopics go, I had a really good time. I thought that Jeremy Allen White was a very interesting choice to play Bruce Springsteen. He doesn't look anything like Bruce Springsteen, just like facially, but with the dyed hair and the contact lenses in. By the end of the movie, I was convinced not that he was Bruce Springsteen, but that he was doing a good job portraying Bruce Springsteen. I thought it was an interesting choice to make this movie about a pretty cinematic point in Bruce Springsteen's life. I mean, the movie's all about Nebraska, and that's not as fun as seeing him on the road doing, Born to Run and Born in the USA and et cetera, et cetera. It's a very kind of moody meditation on depression and Bruce Springsteen as a person. And I think it actually has a lot of very interesting things to say about Bruce what it must be like for Bruce Springsteen living in New Jersey and coming home to New Jersey.
Right. And I mean that all of that's reflected in the album itself. Just to wax poetic on Nebraska for a second, it's definitely the best like soft, slow, down tempo album Springsteen has ever done and probably will ever do. I was listening to it on the way here. I mean, there's just so many great songs on it that I'm sure are portrayed in the movie. I undertook about 10 years ago, and I've added to it since. I've ranked every Bruce Springsteen song, not including tracks too, because the idea of adding an additional 80 songs to a list that's already 337 songs long is daunting to me. But just going back through my list, I mean, I have 4 or 5 songs in the top 25. Highway Patrolman is such an interesting song. And I mean, they could honestly made a whole movie just about that, about a police officer who is at odds with his criminal brother, and then they get into a car chase and he lets the brother go, and he chooses his family over his job. Johnny 99, which is such a good song, and I'm very excited to hear that on the Electric Nebraska, which also comes out Friday. I think you could have bought it already, but for us streaming people, it comes out Friday. And I mean, State Trooper, which is such a cool almost like post-punk folksy song, with lots of weird whoops and wheeze in it. But all right, so back to the movie. So Jeremy Allen White, yeah, I agree. He doesn't really look like Bruce Springsteen. In some of the trailers, I sort of get it, like the onstage persona, him doing the jumps. I think he sort of had the mannerisms down. But I know you've also seen, the movie that this is probably going to get compared to is the Complete Unknown, the Bob Dylan, Timothée Chalamet movie.
Chalamet.
Yeah, and I know you've seen both.
Yes.
Who do you think did a better job, Jeremy Allen White as Bruce or Timothée Chalamet as Bob Dylan?
I'll say this: I think that Timothée Chalamet did a better. I think Timothée Chalamet did a better job of encapsulating his subject. I think he was a more convincing, more interesting, and also I think that playing Bob Dylan is harder than playing Bruce Springsteen, just because it's so easy to turn Bob Dylan into a caricature, and he didn't do that. I think Timothée Chalamet was the best part of that movie by far. He got the Oscar nom for a reason. Mm-hmm. I like this movie better. I like Deliver Me From Nowhere better.
Okay.
I think partially because I just care more about Bruce Springsteen than I do about Bob Dylan. Mm-hmm. And I also think that this movie is less of a paint-by-numbers biopic. They took some chances. They got a little more creative. There's flashbacks and whatnot. The thing for me, like, I love Jeremy Allen White. I love The Bear. I was really afraid that this was just going to feel like Carmy in a band. And it, aside from a few moments where Bruce got mad in the movie about like the recording process of Nebraska, it never felt that way. Early in the movie, the opening scene, his opening lines, it felt like Jeremy Allen White was putting on a little too much of a Springsteen accent.
Yeah, like, hey, it's me, Bruce Springsteen.
He says something about how like I'm scared of the city. I gotta stay in Jersey, and it's like it was like, oh no, we're off to a rough start. But I think he mellows into the role. It's a lot of Bruce looking pensive in his Colts Neck house, but I think one of the really striking scenes in the movie. So the movie opens at the end of the river tour, and Bruce is at the
the biggest he's ever been.
Yeah.
So to interject,
please.
So The River was a really important album for Springsteen. It was sort of a non-comeback album, because before that, so Born to Run is in 1975. That's sort of his breakthrough moment. Born to Run does very well, but it's not like top of the charts well. Like it's sort of like known in the rock circles. And then Darkness on the Edge of Town, the follow-up, takes forever to come out because they have a big dispute with their label and manager. I forget the exact details, but it took like an extra year to come out, and that didn't do especially well. It did okay, and then they sort of needed the big comeback, and then The River comes out, and then Hungry Heart is his first top 10 single, and that's when they start playing like the big theaters, like small arenas. That's when women start coming to the shows, and Bruce Springsteen becomes like an actual real like sort of top line rock star, and then being Bruce with all of his inner demons, like he doesn't know how to process that, so he goes back to where everyone goes, Monmouth County, and then makes an album in his room, which no one expected that turn at that time in his career, which is what makes that album so special.
So interesting that Bruce. I mean, and the conflict of this movie is not just Bruce Springsteen, the rock star, deciding to strip everything down and make this very DIY, very I mean in some ways antiquated album. Like you see he brings it to the record execs and the people in the studio, and they're like, this wasn't properly recorded. Like this is like we can't
That's
work
the point,
with this.
man.
Yeah. But it's also a I mean, it's Springsteen, like you said, dealing with his stardom. He comes back to this house he's rented in Colts Neck after this massive tour, and there's this very stark moment where he walks into the house and he's just by himself, and it's kind of like, all right, now what?
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, a lot of the movie is focused on Bruce being Bruce in New Jersey and how hard that, I mean, and weird that has to be, because it's one thing to be a superstar in New York City. You can really like kind of blend in. It's New York, but like when you're Bruce Springsteen in New Jersey, that's got to be really, it's got to be fun. It has its perks, as we see in the movie in a few scenes, but it's also like you can't get away from it. And like you're a very big fish in, I mean, a great pond, but not the biggest pond. And I think I find that component of this movie very fascinating, and the way he used Nebraska to kind of process his try to process his inner demons of his upbringing in Freehold, with an abusive father, with a troubled family. Yeah,
I got to exercise my demons one song at a time, man. All right, so I want to know how, because I know Jeremy Allen White does his own singing in it, which Springsteen has praised and thinks that he did a good job of not sounding exactly like him and sort of putting his own spin on it. How's the singing? Does it take you out of it? Should they have just overdubbed it with real Springsteen singing?
It works. I enjoyed it. There were definitely times where you're listening and you're like, wait, was this Springsteen or was this Jeremy Allen White? Like he
turns out anybody could sing like that. Yeah.
Just sing like this. He finds this like gray area, this good gray area where it's like it's an homage without being a parody. It's he's doing his own thing. He's not trying to be Bruce. And there's actually, I mean, there's several scenes of him, performing at the Pony or performing at bigger venues or whatever. And Jeremy Allen White does this thing that I don't think Bruce Springsteen does, where he kind of sings out of the side of his mouth.
Okay.
And it's like very passionate and like raw, and it doesn't really feel like a Bruce thing, but it still feels authentic. And like you never get the feeling that Jeremy Allen White has never played an instrument before or never has been in a band before. Like he was a believable rock star, whether it was the few scenes where he's doing like the big Bruce hits. You've seen in the trailers the big Born to Run scene, which is, and he's doing the Springsteen jump and all that, and that works. And then also when they're recording in his bedroom, it's like, all right, like this does seem like something that Jeremy Allen White could do.
Right. Okay. So obviously most of the film was filmed in New Jersey, Asbury Park, Freehold. There's stuff they did at the Meadowlands and Bayonne. And obviously the album itself mentions Mahwah, mentions Linden. Everything is either about like murdering people in the Northwest or like driving around New Jersey. So I want to know how does New Jersey come across in this movie? Is it too much? Were there moments where you had like the Leo DiCaprio meme of like pointing at the screen, like I know that spot? Or was it like not enough where you really didn't feel it? Like, did it hit that balance?
I think one of the movie's strengths is the balance that it does strike with its New Jersey homages. There's definitely moments and places and lines that are, if you're a real Springsteen head or you really love Jersey, you're gonna do the DiCaprio meme pointing. There's my single favorite Jersey moment of the entire movie is pretty early on when Bruce is driving around New Jersey in his brand new car and he's listening to the radio, and I forget the radio station, but my buddy Sean, who I saw the movie with, said it was like era and location accurate radio station, but there is an advertisement on the radio for Action Park, and it's just like, oh, that's nice, like that. Yeah, you would hear that driving around at this point, and all the settings that you'd expect in Asbury, the boardwalk, the casino, Frank's.
Mm-hmm.
It's like New Jersey is a character in this movie without becoming the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It doesn't feel like it's not hitting you over the head with the Jersey of it all. It's kind of like we're here and we're gonna make sure you know it, but we're not gonna overdo it.
Okay.
It didn't feel like oh, we're in Jersey, like we're at the Pony.
Yeah.
Like it never felt like. I will say this: the first time they're at Frank's,
Mm-hmm.
because his love interest is a waitress who works at Frank's.
Of course.
It's cool because I knew it right away. Anyone that's been to Frank's will know it right away.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like, hey, we're going to Frank's for Taylor ham or pork roll. Sorry.
Good save.
Yeah, but then they kind of ruin it at the end of the movie because there's another scene at Frank's and they show the sign. And it's like, come on, we get it. Like we know. Like you didn't have to do that. But
Right, but for 99% of people that are going to see the movie, they probably don't know that they're getting beaten over the head with it.
No.
So the first Frank's shot is interior, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Which is great because you don't have to change anything because it looks exactly like it's looked
it was really
for
cool.
50 years.
It was really cool. I was like, I've sat at that booth before.
Yeah, I've had a giant donut there. Okay. So did anybody else steal the show? Any unsung heroes? I could imagine Jeremy Strong really overdoing it as John Landau and also looking nothing like John Landau, of course. But there's it's an interesting cast, and I want to know who stood out, and did the little kid who looks just like a tiny Bruce Springsteen, whether he was a convincing tiny Bruce Springsteen.
So if anyone stole this movie, I mean, like if there's one Oscar nom that's going to come out of this, it's going to be Jeremy Allen White, just because movie star in a movie star role, definitely has his like Oscar bait moments where he's like getting emotional or whatever. But I gotta say, if anyone stole the movie other than him, Jeremy Strong as John Landau was phenomenal.
Okay.
Like I'm a Jeremy Strong fan. I find the whole method acting, like I'm impossible to work with thing, a bit tiresome.
I am the eldest boy.
He's actually what's so funny is he plays such an opposite character. So, I mean, obviously we know him as Kendall Roy, this like very narcissistic, needy, all about me person.
Yeah, no self-awareness.
Yeah. John Landau, he's such a interesting presence in this movie. He's so clearly Bruce's guy because the whole conflict of this movie is that Bruce is doing a minimalist acoustic kind of country album when they just want more Bruce hits. When they just want, like, it's like, come on, man, like you are
don't bore us, give us the chorus.
It's like, so you've never had more momentum in your life. Now is the time to like pile on the hits. And Jeremy Strong is just like, you can tell that like he takes issue with Bruce wanting to take this direction, but he never tells him not to do it. He never tells him like you're making a mistake. There's so many scenes of them at like coffee shops in New York, because there's a lot of New York in this movie too. Where you can just tell that like Jeremy, like Landau is like, he knows this could be a huge mistake, but he's like, but I'm Bruce's guy, and I'm gonna let him. He clearly believes in Bruce the artist so strongly that he's like, I'm gonna ride with him and I'm gonna let him do this very unconventional, very, I mean, some would say a logical move in his career, which obviously turned out to be a masterclass, a masterstroke. Like Nebraska is a absolutely beloved album. But yeah, Landau was great, or Jeremy Strong as Landau was great. The kid that plays Springsteen, he really like. It almost felt like he was like they got a Bruce sibling or like a Bruce family member to play him, because he has Bruce's eyes.
Right.
Like he kind of has like that same.
Yeah, he's like the spitting image.
Yeah. So much of the movie features young Bruce in these flashbacks to his childhood, and it's pretty stereotypical. Like, I had a rough childhood. My dad was a drunk. My my mom
pulling him out of bars.
Yeah, and pulling him out of the bar is I think it's John's Tavern in Bayonne, which is not in Freehold like they say in the movie, but alas, it looks cool. I liked the kid. I thought the kid was fine. I thought the flashbacks, they were going for something, and I'll give them credit for not just making this a completely linear, like cut and dry biopic, but it is a bit on the nose. Like, so his dad hit him here. Like, okay, and now that's he's not gonna be able to shake that for the rest of his life. So that's I think that's going to be a lot of people's sticking point with the movie, but I don't think that the kid who played him was the problem. Matthew Anthony Pellicano as young Bruce Springsteen. Meanwhile, his father was played by Stephen Graham, and I thought he was really great.
Stephen Graham's the best.
Yeah,
did you watch Adolescence by chance?
I did not.
Gotta watch it. Amazing.
He was so Springsteen's dad is like initially just seems like a drunk bully, and later in the movie you start to realize that he has schizophrenia and other mental issues, and he becomes this incredibly sympathetic character. And like there's a scene where Bruce has to fly out to California to find his dad, and like it seems, I mean, it could be cliche, but it kind of works. And as far as other people in the movie, Odessa Young plays Faye Romano, who's Bruce's love interest. From what I'm told, she's not. She's a fabrication for the movie.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think this will be another thing people bump up on. I think that Odessa Young did a fine job playing this. She's a single mom waitress, and Bruce clearly has interest in her, but is kind of correcting the absentee father that he had. But it's this whole movie is all about real things and like real emotions, and like this is the real Bruce story, and then the
to Hollywood.
Yeah, and the emotional crux is someone who doesn't exist. And it's and a fine performance. It was just like, all right, like you kept it real for this long, and now we can't get a real person to play your love interest, or like a real, I don't know. That was probably my least favorite part of the movie.
Okay. Noted. So brings me to the next and maybe final question. Then we can just talk. I just want to talk about some other random Springsteen stuff. Who is this movie for? Like, is this for, like, will the casual fan take away as much of this or as much from this as somebody who has read his autobiography and who sort of knows the story already, or does it work for everybody, or does it only work for some people? Like, who do you think is going to get the most from it?
I think that this movie is for the Bruce heads.
So who is this movie for? Is it for the casual Bruce Springsteen fan? Like, will they actually take anything away from it, or is it more for the diehards who sort of already know the story and this is sort of like echo chamber?
I think this movie's for the Bruce heads. I think it's for the diehards, the countless fans who obsess over every detail, over every deep cut, every unreleased track and all that, and how did this man create these incredible works of art? But I also think that there is a space for, so like for me, for instance, I obviously love Bruce Springsteen very much, one of my favorite musicians ever. I don't know that much about Nebraska. That's why I find the choice to make this movie about that period so fascinating, because obviously it's a legendary album, but it's not Born to Run, it's not Born in the USA, it's not one of the big hits, and getting to see the inner psyche of Springsteen was interesting for me, and it really kind of gave me contextualized not only Nebraska but Bruce's whole mindset as he's become this prolific artist. I think plenty of people will think this movie is boring because a lot of it is just Bruce being sad and Jeremy Allen White kind of noodling on his guitar and watching weird movies and TV shows in the house. And the big moral of the story, I'm not gonna say how the movie ends. I mean, we all know how the movie ends because Bruce Springsteen's still alive and and Nebraska did come out.
True.
But the moral of the story is basically Jersey boys got to go to therapy.
Yeah.
Which is and we can just wind that to everybody. Boys got to go to therapy. I really appreciate that it wasn't just we're going to make the whitewashed Hollywood version of how a young Bruce Springsteen met Clarence Clemens one night at the Pony, and boom, the greatest rock band in Jersey history was born.
They met at the Student Prince, but go ahead.
There we go. Yep. I'd say if I was in charge of the movie, we would have screwed it.
Yeah.
But no, your mileage will vary because if you're coming in for let's just see a guy doing Springsteen karaoke and jumping up and down and sliding on stage and hanging out with little Stevie, you're not getting that. The E Street Band is hardly in this movie. They're in one scene really. This is about Jeremy Allen White as Bruce Springsteen. So much of it is just him by himself. I think he's a very good actor. I find his take on Springsteen, which Bruce Springsteen himself clearly like co-signed. Like he's very involved in this movie. So like it's not surprising that it's like, it touches on the deep stuff without like Bruce never looks like a huge asshole in this movie, but like that there's definitely moments like, oh, you're being a dick to your love interest. You're pushing her away. How like kind of cliche, but okay. It's gonna be polarizing because people that really love Bruce and are afraid to criticize anything about Bruce are gonna be like, this is a masterclass in how Bruce Springsteen became Bruce Springsteen. But if you're a casual who's like, oh, I just really like Born to Run, like this is like Nebraska's kind of boring, and seeing it recorded, even if Paul Walter Hauser is being very hilarious in the background as it happens, is boring. So yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I mean, for me, like if you were, I don't know, like I'm excited to see it, like as a Springsteen completist, and like I'm about as excited to see it as I am to hear Electric Nebraska, like that's coming out shortly with this, where like I'm okay with it existing. Like, did I really need it? Probably not. If they're doing one Springsteen biopic, I would have rather seen the creation of the E Street Band, the sort of rock and roll Asbury Park Avengers, like meeting around Asbury Park, putting the band together, and then it goes into, even if it's just doing the first album, like Greetings from Asbury Park, and that's the name of the movie. Good and name. You get all sorts of cool people to play, different people. And I will go to the grave that Dominic Sessa, the sort of rising New Jersey actor, who I think looks a lot more like Bruce Springsteen. I think he would have been a great pick for a young Bruce. Like I mean, Jeremy Allen White's probably closer in age to like the 33-year-old Bruce in Nebraska, but that's my my Springsteen fever dream.
Dominic Sessa, who is playing Anthony Bourdain in a biopic.
I know.
We will do a podcast about that, and I will not be as happy about it. I promise you. I'm sure Sessa's a great actor, and I agree with you. I see your point very much about like there would have been a more cinematic or movie friendly time to do it, and that would have been a fun movie to see. But what I think is the one really cool component of this movie is just how they break down. Well, all right, let's cut to this. You mentioned Electric Nebraska, and we're getting Electric Nebraska. I can't wait for it. We've heard the Born in the USA like demo, like kind of like honky tonk, like
yeah, the opposite.
Yeah. And it's cool because in this movie, my single favorite musical moment of the movie, as Bruce is working on all these like very lo-fi, like stripped down songs, he also writes Born in the USA, and they try to get in the studio to make all these songs with the full band, and they don't work. Right. You hear them doing Nebraska with the whole band, and Bruce gets so mad because it just doesn't sound right. But what does work, Born in the USA, the moment where Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band get in the studio and play Born in the USA is like, holy shit, this is awesome. Like, right. And it's Jeremy Allen White's best moment of the movie as Bruce. It's not only just like enthralling to see this all come together, but it's just wild to think that there were levels to this Nebraska period of his life where we got Nebraska, we got Johnny 99, we also got Born in the USA, and like. And he even, I mean, like he says it in the movie. He doesn't even need to say, it's like, I never thought we would have got this out of that. And it's like, yeah, but it just goes to show Bruce Springsteen was in his bag in this period of his life, where he's like, yeah, I can do this like folksy, quiet thing, and I can also rip out like maybe my biggest song ever. Yeah,
I mean, the Nebraska and Born in the USA sessions are sort of forever entwined in this way. I mean, we know this, and then the obvious influence of once Springsteen puts out Nebraska and it, is well received, then that eventually leads back to Ghost of Tom Joad and Devils and Dust and Western Stars, like all like that whole like softer like fixation on the West and sort of long dark roads, like the stuff that sort of festered in New Jersey for him, like him bringing it out to the rest of the country and like really caring about that all starts with Nebraska, or at least is really crystallized, and he's never been better than that.
And so the whole thing with this movie, like there's never a question if Nebraska is going to be released or not, because like there's pushback from from the record label. They're not happy with how stripped down it is and how like it just doesn't sound like a Bruce Springsteen album. But it's getting released like that. Like, and I think that kind of, on one hand, it works against the movie because it's kind of the same issue that happened with A Complete Unknown for me, the Bob Dylan movie, where where it goes, where it ends, and there's no real conflict because Nebraska's gonna get released. But it was very cool to see Bruce's dedication to it and how maybe, I mean, I don't know if this is how it actually happened, but he had this steadfast belief, like, I need this to come out, and he was like, no press, no tour, no singles, and Jeremy Strong as Landau like fully supports him, and then it is kind of anticlimactic because there's all this talk of the album, and then it at the end of the movie, it's like Nebraska came out, and it was like it was a big hit, and it's some say it's Springsteen's best album, blah blah blah, but seeing the way it's crafted, its inception was definitely a very interesting choice and a fun movie to watch, if not as thrilling as, like you said, like the founding of the E Street Band or whatnot.
Right. Okay. So I think we could leave it there. I want to run through from my own self-promotion. I want to run through my countdown of Nebraska songs, and I want to see what you think. Can we do that?
Absolutely.
Okay. So this is the last time I put this together, which was like 2020. So out of the 337 Bruce Springsteen recorded songs, which is now up to over 400 because of tracks too.
My man's prolific.
So number 135 on the list, which is the lowest one. We're going to start with the quote unquote worst and end with the best. 135 is My Father's House, which is very soft, sort of like a dream sequence where Springsteen is like sort of being chased by the devil, I think.
The Jersey Devil.
Yeah, so that's like my least favorite one.
I'd agree with that.
And then at 113 is Used Cars, which has sort of grown on me. And it's funny that he's driving a new car in the movie because the whole song about used cars is like a flashback to when his parents were buying like a new used car when he was younger, and like they didn't have a lot of money. And he says in the song that he'll like when he hits the lottery, he'll never drive a used car ever again. So I like Used Cars. Open All Night, which is a lot sort of more rockabilly, like one of the faster songs, very much like driving through the night kind of song.
And the name of the movie comes from that song, yes?
No, it actually comes from State Trooper.
Oh shit.
Yep. So Open All Night is at 104. Reason to Believe, which is the closing track, which sort of ends on like a little more of a hopeful note.
On my shirt.
Yep, there you go. That's number 84. We like Reason to Believe. Number 46, which I'd probably put it even higher now, is Johnny 99, which is such a good song. I mean, it's sort of the most fun song on the album, but it's also like really heartbreaking, and it's about a guy who loses his job at the Mawa factory and then gets drunk and kills like a bank clerk, and then he gets sentenced to 99 years in prison, and then he's begging for the death sentence because he doesn't want to sit in prison for the rest of his life. So yeah, really really nice heartfelt stuff, but it's a great groove, great song. Number 38 is State Trooper, which you mentioned before, which is sort of like weird, moody, nighttime driving on the turnpike. State Trooper, please don't pull me over, and that's where Deliver Me From Nowhere comes from. Number 35, Mansion on the Hill,
which is very like you see the mansion on the hill in the movie.
Perfect,
and it's kind of on the nose.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, so that's the mansion on the hill.
Oh, that's the hill.
Mansion on the Hill.
Yeah. Yeah. It's based on a memory of a large home near Linden and watching parties from afar. Again, when Springsteen was younger, didn't have a lot of money. Let's see. Number 23 is the title track Nebraska, which is the big harmonica opening and details a real life, true life killing spree that this crazy guy went on through like Nebraska and Wyoming and other stuff.
His name was Starkweather, yes?
Yeah.
Because at least they say in the movie, Springsteen says almost calls it Starkweather.
Right.
Yeah.
That would have been a good name.
Yeah.
I like that.
But Starkweather is an album. I don't know, Nebraska rolls off the tongue, and Jersey Boys singing about the state of Nebraska. But Starkweather's cool too.
Okay. Almost done. Number 18, Atlantic City. Blew up the Chicken Man in Philly last night. That's easily the best known song from this album. That was sort of the quote unquote hit. He still plays that all the time.
It's interesting because the recording is just him, but he plays it live all the time, and with the full band. I think
it's grown.
It transcends this album because it does sound so good with a full band. It's an exception to the rule for this album.
Yep, that was number 18, and then number 11 out of all 337. Number 11 is Highway Patrolman. That's my number one song off this album. It is so good. I talked about it before. They could make a whole movie about that, and I'm pretty sure there have been movies and shows made, about brothers. One's a cop, one's a criminal, and they have to deal with that. So yeah, that's how do you feel about that? Am I crazy?
Bobby, you've forgotten more about Bruce Springsteen than I'll ever know.
Yeah.
But
That's probably true.
Atlantic City is. I mean, like I give you credit. I mean, I love Highway Patrolman, but Atlantic City is Atlantic City, man.
Yeah, that's some normie shit.
I'm not a deep cut Springsteen guy. Like Thunder Road is my favorite Springsteen song. I'm a basic. You know more than I do. I like this. I guess where does this album rank for you in Springsteen albums? I guess.
Glad you asked, Jeremy. I think it's probably 4 or 5 for me. I think for me, and I've probably written a ranking before. I definitely have written. I don't know if I've ever published one, but I've definitely done it in my head.
Next podcast.
Born to Run's definitely number 1. I think I have Wild and Innocent as number 2. The River was 3, and then I think I'm okay with Nebraska at 4. And then it's probably maybe then Darkness and then Born in the USA.
God, he has so many good albums.
Yeah. And then you probably get into like Tunnel of Love and Greetings are right around there. And then The Rising.
I love The Rising.
Yeah.
At least the title track.
That was his last truly great sort of relevent album.
How do you feel about Western Stars, Bobby?
That's still my least favorite. I mean, the solo album he did of all his like vocal standards and like R&B songs that he did recently, like soul songs, like was not crazy about that. I think that was incredibly indulgent, but whatever. He's 76 years old. But yeah, Western Stars, not for me. Not for me.
Nebraska, I have a conflicting relationship with it because, like,
it's a bummer, but it's great.
It's a great bummer. It's like a Phoebe Bridgers Springsteen album in some ways, which is derivative. But no, what's funny is when the first trailer came out, it came out in the morning, and I went to the gym, and I was like, let me listen to Nebraska at the gym, and I was like, this doesn't work.
Yeah, worst work out of your life.
Yeah, I wasn't getting any gains. Yeah. But it's fascinating and impressive that Bruce had this in him, and just that he had the guts to be like, I know I am an ascendant superstar who like could just churn out hits, and he had all these hits in waiting for him. He's like, no, like this comes first, and like Atlantic City is like a top 5 Springsteen song for me. I absolutely love it, and this is just a feather in the cap of Bruce Springsteen's lyricism and musicianship. Yeah, I think this movie, when it comes down to it, it'll be like Nebraska. Like if you like Nebraska, if you're fascinated in Nebraska, you're gonna like Deliver Me From Nowhere. If this is a Springsteen album that you skip, if this is a Springsteen era that you skip, you're probably gonna be less interested. But it is a very important chapter in his life, in his career, and in a lot of ways, I'm really glad this movie got made about this time.
All right.
So yeah, that's I think that pretty much wraps it up. When are you seeing this movie, Bobby?
Probably this weekend. But now that I know everything about it, maybe I can wait.
I'm curious. I'm so curious to see how it's received. I do think that just because it's Springsteen, it's like there's built-in fandom. I mean, there's the people that go to the 100 shows, like that like follow him around on tour. They're definitely going to see this movie at least once, if not multiple times. I'm seeing it on Thursday with my family, and I'm very excited. And I'm going to have even more of an eagle eye for all the Jersey stuff. But yeah, really, I'm glad we got a Bruce Springsteen album. I'm definitely happier about this movie than I am about the upcoming Bourdain film. When are they going to do a movie about us, Bobby?
I don't know. I think each of these podcasts is just put them all together. It'll make a movie.
All right, Bobby. Thank you so much for joining us. Where can people find your work, follow you, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, before that, we got to do a Garden State Gauntlet, and I'm gonna go right off the cuff, and I got some questions for you.
Let's do it. This is a surprise gauntlet. I love it.
All right,
let's go.
All right, Garden State Gauntlet, Bruce Springsteen edition.
Let's do it.
Okay. Favorite Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band member who was not Bruce Springsteen?
Oh, it's got to be. I mean, I feel like default has to be Stevie, right? I rest in peace, Clarence Clemens.
Mm-hmm.
I still listen to Edge of Glory by Lady Gaga with Clarence Clemens on it. And I'm like, damn, we lost a legend. But it's got to be Stevie just for The Sopranos, for the Jersey of it all.
Okay.
Not in this movie, like, at all. And that was kind of a bummer.
Okay. Biggest Springsteen hot take.
Ooh. Oh, wow. Biggest Springsteen hot take. We didn't need this movie. We didn't need this movie. Like, I'm sorry. I'm glad I saw it. I'm glad I get to see it, and I'm glad I get to talk about it. But like, no. And also, I mean, another one. The Broadway show seemed like just an absolute cash grab and an absolute like.
Don't even start with the Broadway show.
Okay, we won't touch that.
Favorite Springsteen moment of your life, whether it was seeing him in person or listening to a song, or like just when you think of the moment where you were like, we're so happy to be a Springsteen fan and exist in the same time as him. What was it?
I have a lot of those, which is awesome. But I'll say this: a couple summers ago, had a rough end of the summer. I was super bummed out about some stuff, and you asked me if I wanted to cover the last Springsteen show at MetLife from that run. And I'd seen Bruce previously at Giant Stadium, but it had been like 20 years. And getting to cover a Springsteen concert at the Meadowlands for NJ.com, for the Star Ledger, whatever, was such a bucket list New Jersey journalist moment for me. And obviously, I mean, he played everything I wanted to hear. I thought he sounded great. I had good seats. I had a lot of fun. So just like, I think specifically when they played Atlantic City, I was just like, I can't believe this is my job. And I can't believe that this guy is basically the president of New Jersey.
Okay. Well, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Last one, have you finally listened to Tunnel of Love yet?
I have.
Hooray.
I was thinking about that on the way here. It's still not my favorite album or anything, but Brilliant Disguise goes hard. I love that song.
Great song. Top 10 song.
That should be required listening for all Jersey's Best podcast listeners.
Exactly. All right, we're done.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Bobby that was not planned. That was
saving the whole episode.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you can find me at Jeremy is Hungry Again on Instagram, or at Jersey's Best Podcast. Bobby, where can they find you?
At Bobby Olivier on whatever, or follow at Jersey's Best Podcast wherever. Or I did do years before this podcast, I did the Springsteen times 70 podcast, which is still out there in the world.
Great podcast.
Which was counting down the top 70 Bruce Springsteen songs, 10 at a time over a course of 7 episodes, with some really cool guests, including the engineer from the original Born to Run, which was counting it down the top 70 for his 70th birthday. Go listen to that if you want to hear more of my ramblings about the top songs.
We will be linking that into the episode notes for sure. That was an awesome podcast. When I was listening to that, I didn't think I'd ever get one. So thanks for helping make that happen, Bobby. You Springsteen walked so I could deliver me from nowhere run. And that doesn't
Good
work.
one.
That was terrible. Thank you to our audio producer, James Shapiro, especially for getting this episode turned around real quick. We're recording this on a Tuesday, coming out on a Wednesday. Thank you to our video producer, Dwayne Uzaro, for waking up early with us to do this. Thank you to our executive producer, Bobby Olivier, as always.
Hello.
Thank you to Schmutzadellas for our theme song, which we definitely took some Springsteen inspiration for that. If you have questions, episode ideas, guest suggestions, anything of that nature, email us at jerseysbestpodcast@gmail.com. Remember to like, subscribe, leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts, and please consider subscribing to NJ.com. There's a link in our episode notes. New Jersey needs high-quality journalism, and our journalists need you. Tune in again next week for the latest episode of Jersey's Best Podcast. And remember,
Jersey forever.
We out.